Hello and welcome to Round 4 Flicks. In this video, we'll list the top 10 best fantasy shows that we think you should watch. Also, this video won't include Moon Knight, WandaVision, or Legacy because we have already covered them, along with many other shows in our previous videos on fantasy series. If you want to view them after this one, their links are in the description. Let's now begin the video. Number 10. TIDELANDS. Stephen M. Irwin and Lee McGrath are the creators of this fantasy crime drama series. The story centers on Cal McTeer, a young lady who has recently returned to Orphan Bay, a small fishing village, after serving a 10-year sentence in a juvenile prison. Upon her return, she discovers that her community is covered in mysteries, the biggest of which begins with the discovery of a local fisherman's body on the shore. She is compelled to investigate the town's strange residents while discovering their secrets, some of whom belong to a vicious species of siren-human hybrids known as the Tidelanders, the offspring of sirens and sea fishermen. She wants to reveal an ongoing silence concerning killing drugs and sirens while delving further into the mystery. If you like mermaids and sirens, you'll like this series because it is generally intense, thrilling, gory, and has amazing cinematography. Number 9. The Legend of Vox Machina. Brandon Auman is the creator of this animated fantasy adventure series. The show takes place in Exandria and a fictional land, and the main storyline occurs on the island of Tal'Dorei in cities like Amon City and Whitestone City-State. The main story revolves around 7 misfits who turn into warriors and are now more concerned with protecting themselves than anybody else. However, as darkness attacks the kingdom, this raucous bunch understands that they are the only ones who can enforce justice and save the Alexandria realm from evil magical forces. It is an absolutely amazing show and a great work of art. If you haven't seen any fantasy animation series yet, I strongly suggest you do it because this is without a doubt the greatest. Number 8. BULGASAL, Immortal Souls. Jang Young-woo is the director of this Korean fantasy historical drama. The show follows the lives of 2 main characters, a woman who has been dying and reviving repeatedly for 6 centuries in order to remember her previous lives, and a man who has spent the entire time as a BULGASAL, an immortal mythical beast that feeds on human blood. But the actual story begins when, in an effort to escape his curse, BULGASAL seeks retribution from a mysterious woman he considers responsible for his immortality, and the difficulties he has endured for the past 600 years. I could rave about this show for minutes, but let's keep the video as brief as possible. It is a must-watch on this list because the series is great in every way. It features a gripping plot with lots of twists and amazing cinematography. Number 7. NERA. Francesca Maniera and Laura Paolucci are the creators of this Italian historical fantasy series. The story revolves around Ade and her brother, who live in a society where women who are thought to practice witchcraft are accused of crimes and pursued by a group called the Benandanti. The story takes place in 17th century Italy. After losing their grandparents, Ade and her brother leave and seek safety with a tribe of fabled witches, where Ade learns throughout the course of the following 6 episodes that she is the pre-selected one and has magical abilities. Ade has several challenges, including trying to figure out who she was in the past as an unidentified stranger hunts her down and accuses her of practicing witchcraft. Overall, the series starts out slowly but picks up speed as the plot develops. It explores romance magic and has a compelling plot with historical elements. Number 6. Once Upon a Time. Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz are the creators of this fantasy adventure series. The show presents a brand new world where contemporary reality coexists with mythology from fairy tales. The story revolves around Emma Swan, a bail bond agent who is content with her life until Henry, the son she abandoned 10 years earlier, turns up and he is certain that Emma is the offspring of Snow White and Prince Charming, who took her away before the evil sorceress could use a spell to send them to contemporary Storybrooke and freeze the fairy tale kingdom in eternity. However, after dropping him off at home, Emma decides to stay in the area to keep an eye on Henry, and she learns that he might not be wholly mistaken. This recommendation is for individuals who haven't already seen the show because it's conceivable that many fantasy lovers have already seen it. Simply put, this show has all the qualities that make for a great fantasy show. It's dark, gritty, occasionally romantic, and full of unexpected turns that keep you watching. Number 5. Ice Fantasy. It is an epic fantasy series that is based on the best-selling book City of Fantasy by Gui Jiming. The series' plot begins 100 years after the war between the Fire Kingdom and the Ice Kingdom, when the second king of the Fire Kingdom sadly perishes while traveling to the Ice Tribe for King Kazuo's coming-of-age ceremony. This serves as inspiration to start a second conflict between the two kingdoms in an effort to exact revenge for the first Fire King's exploits. On the other hand, with their family imprisoned, the two remaining Ice Kings, Kozuo and Ian Kongshi, journey to the human world and request assistance from Realm Guardian Li Luo, in order to gather ice crystals from 6 different countries in order to repair the ice wall and safeguard the Ice Kingdom. Overall, it's an excellent series with a compelling plot, and once you start watching it, you won't be able to stop. It's highly recommended for fantasy enthusiasts, so don't miss this one. Number 4. WYNONNA. Emily Andras is the creator of this dark fantasy supernatural series. The main character of the story is WYNONNA, who has spent a considerable amount of time away from her native purgatory, but has recently returned to take on the role of evil defender that Wyatt's successor is meant to fulfill. Her task is to exterminate Trivenants, the reincarnated spirits of the criminals her great-grandfather slaughtered. WYNONNA works together with her sister Waverly Earp, the mercenary Xavier Dawes, and Doc Holliday, Wyatt's closest friend who is cursed with immortality, to stop the revenants from inhabiting purgatory and freeing themselves into the outside world. Overall, the show is rough, gritty, and definitely worth seeing because it features everything from magic to creatures to vampires. Although it may sound like other spooky fantasy shows, this one has a distinctive plot all its own. Number 3. Wolf Like Me. Abe Forsyth is the director of this fantasy comedy drama series. The story revolves around Gary, an Australian living in Adelaide, who is parenting his little daughter Emma alone. Gary and Emma are still working on regaining their mental health after Lisa, Emma's mother, passed away 7 years ago. However, when Gary and Emma first meet Mary, a reclusive advice writer managing her own complicated psychiatric issues, they are surprised by her desire to distance herself from them. Despite her best efforts to avoid them, they frequently cross paths in a string of episodes that seem to portend a precarious future. On the other hand, she has a deadly magical secret that she thinks would injure the two. I won't say anything else because doing so might give away the show's main secret plot, but trust me when I say you do not want to miss this one. It is absolutely worth seeing. Number 2. The New Legends of Monkey. Gerard Johnstone is the director of this fantasy adventure series. The main character of the story is the Monkey King, who was imprisoned beneath a mountain 500 years ago by his enemies in heaven. After 500 years, the mortal world has fallen under the control of demons, who are now torturing its inhabitants. The main plot revolves around a young woman named Tripitaka, 3 missing gods and their quest to resurrect the Monkey King, and find the sacred texts that the monkey stole and secretly hid on Earth 500 years ago. Whoever finds the scrolls will have unbounded power. Later in the series, they embark on a mission to collect 7 precious books and save the Earth from evil with the help of a Monkey King across an ancient and magical land that is currently ruled by evil creatures. It's a great presentation that is also a lot of fun. It will retain your interest with humor, emotion, and some funny action. Number 1. Carnival Row. It is a steampunk fantasy series based on the unproduced film spec script A Killing on Carnival Row by Beecham. The show takes place in a historical fantasy world where legendary migratory animals live, their affluent ancestral lands having been conquered by men's kingdoms. In the most disadvantaged areas of the city, this growing immigrant population struggles to coexist with others while being barred from openly getting married, falling in love, or moving about as well. The main plot centers on Rycroft Philostrate, a human investigator, and a fairy named Vignette, who rekindle a perilous romance in this medieval fantasy world, where the delicate tranquility of the city is shattered by a series of murders that reveal a horrifying beast. When this show first came out, I'll be honest and say that my expectations were quite low. However, after watching, I can say that the series is wonderful and has a fantastic fantasy atmosphere with mythological animals and people coexisting side by side. Absolutely worth watching is this. That is all for today. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our channel to view future videos about suggested movies and television shows.